Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Artsy Hair Jewelry Company channel. I have a ton to show you today, so let's get right into it. My desk is filled with tools and findings and beads, and I wanted to start working with other things with metal rather than just all polymer clay. And so I'm going to show you some beading tools and uh, things you're going to need for different techniques that we're going to learn, and equipment and supplies and materials, stuff like that. So my desk is so crowded right now. So here's a beading board. This is a big one. I could move my camera, but anyway, these you can get at all this stuff you can get at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann, stores like that. Um, Let me start showing you the little things I have up on my desk so I'll have room to show you the tools. Okay, beads. We have different kinds of glass beads, like so. Those are glass. Let's see. These hearts are glass. That's more like a lamp work, hand blown glass. It's called lamp work. Um, Now, crystals have a little bit of lead in it, so um, a small amount of lead, so it makes the glass softer, and that makes it easier to cut into more precise shapes, and that's where they cut so many different facets into it, so it sparkles and reflects the light a lot. These are glass. I'm just going to try to move. I mean, there's so many different kinds of glass beads. There's check glass. Of course, the cheaper ones come from China. These are glass. I mean, they come in all different shapes and colors. Here's a string of glass beads with various kinds. There's crystal, there's blown glass. Let's see a little bit closer. Usually on a string, you get just one kind of bead per string, but lately, or not lately, I don't know, um, for a while now, they've been stringing strands with different colors and different types. So you can make a, like say you can make a bracelet out of this without having to buy, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 different kinds of beads on here. So normally you would have to buy 5 strands. This way you only have to buy the 1 strand, and you can make a piece of jewelry out of with 1 strand. Of course, we have metal, all kinds of different metal beads. And you can get sterling silver beads, but most of these, I mean, if you start buying this size of sterling silver bead, it gets very expensive very fast. I don't have very many beads that are sterling silver, and I did not pull any out to show you. Here's a different kind of bead. It has little crystals in it. Very hard to see, I know. Here's another one with the blue crystals. These are little spacer beads. And you can see there's different shapes and designs that you use, to add to your design when you're designing necklaces and bracelets. And I mean, there's just so much to choose from nowadays. These are actually bead caps, which you put one. I have one hand holding my bead tray, so I'm having trouble here. Let's see. These you actually put on either side of a round bead, like you would have a bead, and then you would put this. They're called bead caps, and you would put it, and then you would put another bead cap on that side. It's kind of hard to show. Here's beads that I made out of polymer clay, little pods. They kind of look like artichokes. They're kind of cute. And here's another polymer clay bead that I am in the middle of making a pair of earrings out of it. I've added a crystal, and it's on a head pin. I'll show you what head pins are in a minute, but yeah, this is just a little pod, I call them. They're so cute, I think. They look like little artichokes. I just love using those. Here's two different polymer clay beads that I've made. Here's some little hearts. I mean, there's everything you can think of when it comes to beads. Okay, next I have head pins. Well, wait, let me get these out of the way. These are bails, which you use when you use a bail on a pendant, for a necklace. I would glue this on, and as you can see, there's a ton of different bails, made out of different materials, all sizes, all shapes. Here's I don't know what kind of metal this is. Maybe some kind of brass. Here's a brass. So there's a ton of different bails you can buy, or you can make, like when I use polymer clay, sometimes I make my bail. Now, this is a pendant that's not finished, but I'm going to glue a crystal into there. But I made this bail out of clay. If you can see it. So I just baked it on when I made it, and it was attached right from the get-go, so it can never come off. Of course, I have resin over it. So you can make your bails, and sometimes I just use jump rings for a bail if I just want to attach it real simple. Jump rings are made for attaching or connecting different jewelry pieces. Of course, we use jump rings when I showed you how to make the earrings. So jump rings come in all different metals, of course, everything from sterling silver to copper to plated silver to stainless steel, all the metals you can think of. Head pins. Head pins are used a lot to make earrings, and you can get fancy ones. The camera's trying to focus. They're just straight, and you can get like fancy ones like this one, or just a plain old head pin. You can see on the end, there's just a little piece that keeps the bead from sliding off the end. Here's a pair with, oops, I dropped one of them. It has a balled end. And I'll be showing you how to make these. You can make your own using copper or sterling silver. You have to get a torch to them. I will be showing how I make those. Okay, so there's all different kinds of head pins, different decorative tips, and I'll show you how to use one of those in a minute. And let's see. Here are, these are called eye pins, I think. Anyway, they're along the same line as a head pin, but what you can do with these is after you stack the beads that you want for your earring, you can have another, you could have another bead, and you would put it on another head pin and cut it and make a loop, and it would hang from the top one. I'll be showing you how to do that. That wasn't a very good way to show you, but I will show you. Then we have ear wires. I usually make my own. These are all sterling. I bought these. There's all different kinds, all different sizes. Here's a really big pair. You see those down here. I make a lot of mine, and I usually make very simple. These are sterling silver also. These are ones I made. And the beauty of being able to make your own is you can make them whatever size you want. And sometimes you need to have that loop that your earring hangs from. Sometimes you need a big circle and sometimes you don't. So the beauty of making your own is you can make whatever size you need to fit the project you're working on. Here's some more store-bought ones. And then we have different clasps, like for a bracelet, I make my own clasp. Here's what I made. I just make little simple ones for myself, kind of like this. And you can make these whatever size you want. 90% of the time I make my own clasp. Here's some store-bought ones. These are lobster claws. I didn't pull out any toggles. I don't know why. Here's another interesting one. This opens, the heart opens. Let me put that down. Where is it? I'm not going to be able to show this, I don't think. Anyway, there's just a lever on here, a spring back that allows you to, anyway, this heart opens up and you would attach it to a jump ring, you know, for a bracelet. You have that attached to that. Here's the lever back ear wires. These just open up by pulling them apart like that. And then I have crimp beads. If you are stringing beads on a wire, here's the wire I use. And you can get different thicknesses. This is 19 strands. That means there's 19 teeny, tiny, tiny, tiny strands in this small little wire. It makes, the more strands you have, the more flexible it is. You have to have crimp ends to close the end of your necklace or bracelet. And crimp beads are tiny. They're hard to work with sometimes. These are tiny little round crimp beads. These are crimp tubes. They do the same purpose. And then once you crimp them, you have crimp covers. So it just makes your work look neater. I have crimp covers on this bracelet. It just looks like a silver bead right there. And let me get this stuff off of here so I can start showing you the tools. Tools of the trade. Boy, I'm not going to have fun putting all this stuff away. It took me forever to drag it out. Oh dear. Some of these things are so teeny tiny, like the crimp beads. Crimp beads come sometimes like this. Oh, these are crimp covers. And let's see, I have more head pins and eye pins. These are sterling silver. Here's a different clasp. That's sterling silver. It's kind of like the ones I make. And here are some, I think these are Heshy beads. I forget it's a semi-precious stone. I can't remember if it is agate or jasper. I'm not sure. But these are bead crimps. No, not crimps, clamps. And believe me, you want to get a package of these so when you're making a necklace, you can put this on one end. I can't tell you how many times I have had a whole string of beads slide off the string, and I would have to, they would go everywhere, and I would have to start all over. So you want something to be holding one end of your wire while you're stringing on the other end. And I put both of them in here on here. Yeah, both of them while I'm not working on it. Let's see, there's all kinds of wire I use. I use copper wire. I use sterling silver wire. I use silver plated wire. And they come in packages like this, or they come a lot of times, they'll come on a spool. I mean, and a lot of times they just come like this with a piece of cardboard for the tag telling you what it is that you're buying. So let me put these away or out of the way. And let me start with the tools. Where do I start? Okay, let me get the hammers out of the way. You will need a hammer. Believe me. Actually, these are the two hammers that I use the most. This is just a tiny little plastic hammer that I got at Michael's. and this doesn't leave marks. And if you are hammering wire, it won't flatten it out like a metal hammer will. This is a chasing hammer. You can see it's kind of convex. It goes out a little. It's a chasing hammer. This is a hammer that I use for stamping when I am using metal stamps, like this doesn't want to open easily. This kind of stamping. Make a special hammer for that. So let me get my hammers put out of the way if I can. These go back over here. Okay. This little hammer. Oh, here's another little hammer. I don't use this very often, but you can change the tips on this little hammer, and this will leave, little indents. This is kind of for decorative hammering. Now, let me show you. This is a handy little tool. This little tool is worth its weight in gold. If you saw the drawer of wire that I have, you would know why this is so valuable. To try to keep, you need to know the gauge of the wire that you're working with. And to keep this like a tag on it, or to try to keep your wire separated and always know what gauge it is, it's like a nightmare. So you don't have to if you have this tool. This tool tells you what gauge of wire you are working with. The way it works is you don't go into the holes. I don't know why they have those circles there. I bet this is 20 gauge. And it says 20 right here. It gives all the different sizes. It's 20 gauge. And you just slide it, and it fits. It fits right in there snug. It doesn't fit in the 22 gauge. See there? It won't go in. But it will slide into the 20 gauge. Like I said, you don't go down to the circle. Of course, the 18 gauge, there's too much movement. Anyway, this will tell you what gauge wire you have. This little tool, now see how this wire is bent? You usually want to work with straight wire. This tool, you wrap around your wire and squeeze it together and just pull it through, and you end up with a straight piece of wire. You can also straighten your wire by using pliers that have a plastic jaw, a plastic cover over the jaw, and you just put it in between and squeeze real hard and pull it through, and that will straighten your wire also. Or you can take a steel block. Now this is very tiny. My other steel block is about probably 3 inches by 3 inches. But you take a steel block, and you would take your rubber mallet and hammer it and turn it at the same time, and you can get kinks out this way, and you can hold it and pull your wire through. That will help straighten it. See, I'm pulling it through. I don't know if you can tell, but I am. There's the end. But so there's several ways to straighten wire. Also, the rubber mallet helps you work harden your metal. After you have, say, after you've made an ear wire like this, you have to work harden it, or else when you put it in your ear, the whole thing's just going to bend and get misshapen, get too wonky to wear. One way to work harden is to take a rubber mallet and you pound on it and just do this for a few minutes, and eventually it gets work hardened to where you're not going to be able to bend it out of shape very easy. It's going to keep its shape, and the wear and tear on it will not affect it. You don't want to use a metal hammer. Well, sometimes I do use a metal hammer because I want to flatten out the curve. It's just depending on what look you're trying to get. So let's see. Okay. Next, I have a bead reamer. I hardly ever use this. Sometimes you'll get a bead, especially pearls, and the hole will be so small that it won't easily slide over the wire you're working with. Well, you can take a bead reamer and put it in the hole and ream out as much or as little as you need to get it to slide over your wire. Like I said, I mostly use this on pearls, but I don't use it very often at all. Okay, let's see. I have a jeweler saw right here. I used to use this a lot. Hopefully I will start using it more as I get back into working with metal. Like I said, since I've been working with polymer clay, I've kind of abandoned my metal work the past year and a half or so. Here is a ring mandrel, which comes in real handy. Here's a metal ring mandrel. This you can see how beat up it is. This, I would say you need to enlarge a ring. You would slide it on your ring mandrel. Let me find something I can show you. I know I have a ring around here. Here's one. Here's a sterling silver ring. Say I needed to make this larger. You would slide it on. You would take your rubber mallet and start hitting it and turning it, and eventually it's going to get bigger. And this is marked, like, so if you need a size 9 ring, you would have to hammer it out till it reached the 9. Right now it's at the 8. This is about a size 8 ring. So you can also, if you want to get a hammered look, like I hammered this small band that I'm wearing. You can't tell very much, but I did hammer this a little bit years ago when I made it. This is argentium silver. I'll be telling you about argentium silver later on. It's a very interesting story about what argentium silver is. So let me put my ring mandrels away. These are tools. The tools I'm showing you are tools that I use the most and are good to have. You certainly don't need all of these but eventually I will be using these tools that I'm showing you in different projects. These are nylon. Did I say that before? They're nylon jaws. Okay. I keep grabbing my hammer, putting it back and forth. Let's see. This is interesting. This is a little bead cup. It is for ear wires. You don't want this end to be sharp because that would hurt going in your ear. So what you do, this is a little cup. You put the ear wire in it and you turn and it files. Silver is falling off right now. It files the end of your wire so it's not sharp and it won't hurt your ear. It's really cool. I don't use it enough. Usually I just take a file, a big file, or a fingernail file and use that. But this is made especially for ear wires. Interesting. I don't use it very much, like I said, but it's cool to have. Pliers. I have a ton of pliers. Chain nose. You will need a pair of chain nose. If you notice the shape, it's a very popular kind of plier, chain nose. These are my two favorite, and I have two of them because these are just flat nose, but they are so tiny. And I have two of them so I can open and close jump rings easy. These are the two I use the most. Sorry, my dog is barking. Let me shut him up. Okay, sorry about that. So chain nose, flat nose, and like I said, that's this is a very small pair of flat nose pliers. You will need round nose pliers. And I mark my round nose that way when I am, if I need to make a pair of earrings, I want the circle to be the same size on each earring. I want this circle to be the same size on each earring. So if I have my pliers marked, then I am able to know exactly where to put the wire each time. And believe me, if you don't have it marked, it's hard to get them exactly the same size. Hard for me anyway. You will need a pair of flush cutters. Flush cutters cuts the wire flat on one side. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to cut it. This is the side. Whatever side the flat part of the plier is facing is the side that's going to have a flush cut. The side that fell off will come to a point. I know you're not going to be able to see this probably, but it comes more to a point where the other side is flat. No, it's very hard to tell, but trust me, flush cutters. You will need flush cutters. I have a pair of step pliers. This enables me, there's a few things I do with this, but to make ear wires, to make the big part of the ear wire right here, I use different sizes on the step cutter. I love these pliers. These are crimping pliers. Those tiny little crimp beads go in here, and first they crimp it closed with, you can see a tiny little, I'm gonna have to draw it to show you. When I show you how to use these, it will make more sense. But to make a crimp at the end and using a little crimp tube, I use tubes rather than the beads. You can use a regular pair of pliers, but these crimping pliers are the best. This I hardly ever use. This is very interesting. It makes loops. Let me show you. I had it turned. Do I have it turned? No. That's how often I use it. I hardly ever use it. But let me show you what it does. It makes a loop for you, cuts off the extra, and then makes a loop for you. But I never learned how to use it well enough to use. I don't know. I just have, it's easier for me to just use my round nose pliers, probably because that's what I learned with and got used to using. You know, it's just so easy to grab these and make your loop, because I never know exactly how much wire to put in here, how far to put it in. Anyway, if I learned how to use it, I would probably like it, but I wanted to show that to you because I think a lot of people really do like it. Drills. I have a Dremel, of course, with tiny little bits. You can see, I mean, that is a tiny bit there. I have a Dremel. I don't drag it out very often. I prefer, for the little drilling that I do, I have hand drills. Sometimes they're called pin drills. Here's one in a package. You can see the different size bits that come with it. Tiny, tiny, teeny, tiny ones. And I have a ton of drill bits and little hand drills. Let me put these away. Of course, these work real easy. All you do to change the bit is unscrew it, take it out, and then put it back in and tighten it back up. It works like any other drill. Real easy. Easy peasy. Let me put those away. And then I wanted to show you metal. I have all kinds of metal, different gauges of wire from very thin to thick. Here's some sheet metal that I use a jeweler saw on. I also have dapping blocks and cutting blocks. I'll show you those when I get to it. But these metal sheets, I found an old package that I got at Michael's, and I checked online, and they're on sale. This is usually $25 for a package of 4. You get 2 sheets of, it says that this is brass. It says brass metal sheets. Well, I don't know what they use to make this silver. They coat it in some kind of metal, but it is brass on the inside. And it comes with an actual brass sheet And then it comes with I don't have the copper sheet, but it comes with a sheet of copper also. So right now they're on sale for $10 online. And like I said, you would use your saw to cut out different things. And let me show you, let me show you what this tool is. Say you have something cut out and you need to make a hole to put a jump ring through so you can attach it somehow. This screws down and puts a hole in the metal for you. Let me show you. I'm just going to screw this down, and there's two different size holes. There's a smaller one and a bigger one. And you screw this down until you can't go any further, and unscrew it and slide it out, and voila, you have a hole. Isn't that cool? I use this a lot. Like I said, you can buy these tools with different size screw down, so you get different size holes. You can also make holes with a pair of pliers like this. These don't work as easy, but this has a little, some kind of blade, and you squeeze it. That worked very easy, but let me tell you, sometimes it is very tough. And this made a hole also. Of course, it left a burr on the back, which I would have to get a metal file and file off. This works better than this. But sometimes you can't. You can only put so much in the screw down one. Like, that's not very far. Say you needed to make a hole way down here. You wouldn't be able to use this one. That's where this one comes in handy. And if this wouldn't make it, say you needed to make one a whole way over or somewhere where this wouldn't reach, then I would pull out my Dremel. Or I have a rotary, not a rotary tool. I have, I forget what they're called. Well, anyway, I have an electric tool that I would pull out to use if these two hole makers didn't work. So I showed you a whole lot, and I didn't really show you how to use very many of the things, but I've already been going about 45 minutes, and I want to try to keep the video that's around 30 minutes when I'm not showing you a project, when I'm just like the basics that I'm making videos of. I want to try to keep those short so people don't get bored, because those real long videos can be very annoying if you're not making something, if you're just being shown tools and materials and stuff. So I'll make a follow-up video showing you how to use head pins and jump rings and stuff like that. I'll show you how that, and how I would put a bail on, and how some of these other tools work. In the meantime, thank you so much for stopping by. Please do the YouTube things. I hate to say it. Everybody says it. Subscribe, blah, 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 blah. That was a box of my beads. Thank goodness it didn't open. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Y'all have a great day or night wherever you are, and I will see you real soon. Thanks a lot. Bye now.